a wall on your, by your house, and we give you a plug. That plug will supply you for lights and also for ironing, charging, all those small things. We want to be covering everyone in the country. It will cover also the small companies, small industries in those small homes. And we have also what you call wheeling. If you are familiar with wheeling, those traders who are buying electricity from a supplier and supplying someone else, but they don't produce, they don't have even the means to transport, so they talk to the grid and just buy and sell, buy and sell. We are encouraging that as well. We have those who are doing batteries. They buy when it's cheap and store the power and then sell to the grid or to a particular company that they choose to work with. When it comes to gender, we are working with women, and we're making a special encouragement to women, especially the young ones, where we are teaching young girls to the regulator and the plant, the EEC, which is called the producer of electricity there. They go there as interns. They go there as from high school as for shadowing, just to interest them in electricity. And some of them are really interested. The mix that we have, we expect to get jobs from that, to see development, and we wish to see skills transfer and gain experiences. Already, this is seen in the country, and one of the Voctim schools there is working with the regulator and have accredited, given certificates to 42 and 5 for inspecting the installation of solar, because solar is gaining ground there, but still at a very low space. Am I? I think we would be 100% by now access. But the problem, I don't know what's happening in other countries. We are scattered all over. A country there, a home there, a home there, a home, but then it's difficult. It's still same with water. By now we should be 100% covered, but the scattered homes is making it difficult. Now, there is this problem which I would like to address as well. Companies coming to produce, they want to have exclusivity. It sounds nice, but really, what we have seen in the past is that we give you exclusivity, then after 10 years, you just disappear. You are gone. And no cost to you. A big cost to us, because we have lost opportunities to talk to other people. So we're mindful of that, but we are expecting to produce something like 1,500 megawatts. We need only about 300 megawatts ourselves. We expect to export the rest to the region, to the southern power pool. We want to believe we are on that track now. Mr. Chairman, I think I can give it back to you. Thank you so much.
Big round of applause. Thank you, Your Royal Highness, for that forgiveness in terms of mispronouncement. After break, I shall come and practice. With your permission. Allow me to move on as time is running out. I saw somebody who was assisting us with the Honorable representative from DRC. I think he wants to speak in French. Yeah, so I'm not so sure how we are going to proceed. Do we have simultaneous translation? Where is the colleague that was whispering to the... It's okay? Okay, I understand there is simultaneous translation, interpretation rather. Allow me to call upon Mr. Alfred Likobo Bin Gele. I'm hoping I'm improving in my pronunciation. From the Ministry of Water Resources and Electricity, DRC, to talk to us about DRC's vast hydropower potential position as a cornerstone of regional clean power supply, and to answer the question, how is the government ensuring that new hydropower developments are climate resilient, environmentally sustainable, and socially inclusive while supporting regional power exports? You have the floor, sir. Can we clap for him, please?
Merci beaucoup, messieurs les modérateurs, pour avoir aligné le Eswatini avant la République démocratique du Congo. Merci. Merci les pays hôtes. Nous allons beaucoup plus parler sur la transition énergétique en République démocratique du Congo. Et on va chuter par des recommandations. Je vais dire que la RDC, c'est un grand pays qui a aussi des potentiels énormes, des 100 000 mégas pour l'hydro, 82 000 mégas pour les solaires, y compris la biomasse et tout ça. Mais nous allons beaucoup plus se focaliser sur les deux, le mix énergétique entre l'hydro et le solaire. En 2014, on a pris une loi pour libéraliser le secteur. Et le secteur a été libéralisé par la loi 14/011 du 17 juin 2014, relative au secteur de l'électricité. Et avant cela, le taux de desserte était de 9%. Mais nous comptons doubler puisque là, nous sommes déjà à 21%. Et nous comptons aller plus loin. En 2030, nous pouvons passer à 62. Et beaucoup vont se demander comment on va passer de 21 à 62. Et nous allons tabler sur 4 axes. Les 4 axes, c'est d'abord réhabiliter les centrales existantes, dont les infrastructures existantes, et construire les nouvelles. Pour la construction des nouvelles centrales, nous avons déjà signé plusieurs contrats de concession en termes de, ça peut approcher aujourd'hui 2000 à 2500 mégas, si ma mémoire répond, puisque au niveau de Kintuka, déjà, nous avons un site qui va développer 600. Et au niveau du bassin de Louvois à Tanganyika et au Katanga, il y a plusieurs, dans ces cascades de Louvois, on va beaucoup plus aussi développer. Et au niveau du site, nous avons des centrales. à développer. Et le tout peut nous faire 2500. Mais en réhabilitant les anciennes centrales, en montant sur le développement dans quelques années, en 2030, nous pouvons aller à 62%. Voilà, pour atteindre au moins 62 millions de population de la République démocratique du Congo. Nous comptons beaucoup plus sur la coopération régionale. Là aussi, on a beaucoup plus avancé puisqu'il y a des contrats entre l'Angola et la RDC. Il y a des corridors, mais les études ont été validées. Il y a des concessions qui ont été signées pour transporter de l'énergie de Inga à Soyo et Kolwezi vers Solwezi. Entre les deux, ce sont les deux corridors. Là, il y a pas de problème. Il y a le problème du secteur privé. Tout ce que nous allons faire, on va les faire avec le privé, puisque toutes les concessions qu'on a données, c'est beaucoup plus les privés qui ont obtenu toutes ces concessions. Donc, on appelle beaucoup plus le privé à venir, à continuer à venir, puisque pour développer les 100 000 mégas, comme je disais tantôt, il faut un apport du secteur privé. Voilà en somme à ce qui concerne les réformes. Les réformes, je vois dans la salle, il y a la Banque mondiale, il y a la BAD et d'autres partenaires qui nous accompagnent. On n'a pas encore le plan directeur, mais c'est en gestation. Les gens ont été recrutés pour le faire. En 2026, nous aurons notre plan directeur pour y avancer. Concernant le secteur privé, je rentre là, il y a des avantages que nous donnons. La loi 14 donne beaucoup plus des avantages sur les allègements fiscaux pour que nous puissions aller de l'avant. Il y a le code des investissements qui nous donne aussi ces avantages. Pour sécuriser le tout, il y a la loi sur le partenariat public-privé qui appuie tout cela. Et pour sécuriser les investisseurs, nous avons l'autorité de régulation qui assure la régulation et la protection des investissements en République démocratique du Congo. À ce qui concerne le milieu rural, nous avons lancé une agence qui assure l'électrification. Allô? Nous avons une agence qui assure l'électrification dans les milieux ruraux et périurbains. Donc, pour cela, nous comptons électrifier 78 000 villages. On est en train d'avancer. Le plan d'investissement prioritaire a été arrêté. On avance avec cet investissement pour atteindre en 2030 au moins un grand nombre de ces villages. Voilà un peu ce que je pouvais dire à ce qui concerne la résilience. La résilience, nous aussi, puisque il y a ce que nous appelons la transition énergétique. Il faut beaucoup plus pallier sur les énergies renouvelables et nous pensons y réussir. Merci. En tout cas, je m'excuse pour ma langue, il fallait que je parle, mais je suis Sadc, donc il ne faut pas m'en vouloir pour ça.
I wish to present my apologies. I cannot speak English.
Donc je disais, je suis Sadc. Je suis Sadc, donc...
I'm part of the Sadc. I'm part of the Sadc family.
Merci, je pense. C'est ce que j'avais à dire.
I
Merci.
think that's all I had to say. Thank you for your attention.
Je voudrais remercier le ministre. You see, I can speak French, as you can see. I was learning a bit as the honorable representative was speaking, but another round of applause, please. I think we are moving on nicely. Allow me to call upon from Mauritius. I know they speak 2 languages there, but the Honorable Mr. Sanjay Somon, Acting Deputy General Manager, Central Electricity Board of Mauritius, is going to speak to us in English, and we hope that he is going to touch in his presentation on the issues. We know that Mauritius has demonstrated leadership in energy efficiency, cogeneration, and the development of wind and solar technologies. What policy and regulatory instruments have been most effective in driving these investments, particularly in the industrial and commercial sectors? Mauritius, 5 minutes. Round of applause.
Yes, thank you very much. Your Excellencies, good afternoon, and friends, good afternoon. So as you see, I'm not minister, but I'm representative of the minister. So I will talk on behalf of Mauritius. Mauritius has demonstrated a strong leadership in energy efficiency, cogeneration, and deployment of wind and solar technologies. Its progress has been driven by clear national policy direction, robust regulatory frameworks, and practical implementation mechanisms that provide confidence to investors and utilities alike. Energy efficiency as a strategic resource, we have industrial and commercial sectors have reduced peak demand through process optimization, like power factor correction, capacitor banks, and targeted efficiency measures. Lately, we have launched a scheme, a PV scheme, CNCS, where we have requested the big commercial companies to produce their own electricity through PV generation, and this will help Mauritius, as will help the company during peak hours, because presently we have a problem of generation. The firm capacity in Mauritius is around 630, and the peak demand is already 567 last year. But if this year this continues to increase, then we may face a load shedding problem. Last year we had 4 days where we had load shedding, but this year we are accelerating on PV generation so that we won't face these problems again. We have also stable and credible investment signals, clear national targets including coal phase out and prioritization of renewables under a new renewable energy roadmap is under preparation, and which aims for us to attain 60% renewable energy in the energy mix by 2035. Presently, we are at around 20%, and we have a long way to go, but there are many projects that are presently being implemented. But these have been delayed mainly because of land problems, because Mauritius is a very small island, and we have also permitting issues. But these have been solved because our minister has taken the lead to solve these permitting issues. We have bankable renewable pipelines. So we have programs include solar PV integrated with battery energy storage systems, BESS. And presently we are implementing one BESS project of 20 megawatt. And we have an option of implementing another one after July. And all PV generations now will be hybrid facility. So those who are producing by PV, they will have also to provide it through a battery. to store the energy and then they can use it later. So we have structured grid integration processes, defined technical standards, transparent cost allocation, and proactive guidance from the CEB to ensure safe and reliable connection of renewable systems. We have also distributed generation schemes like small-scale distribution, where all the households we are encouraging to place a PV on the house, and also large commercial customers are being encouraged to produce up to 2 megawatt PV generation. And also we have fiscal incentives and tax measures. These include 100% annual capital allowances for solar units. VAT and excise duty are removed, so the people are encouraged to buy their own PV and install on their house. Energy efficiency governance, we have the EEMO, Energy Efficiency Management Office, which works under the Ministry of Energy and Public Utilities. It oversees audits, applying standards, efficiency strategies across industrial and commercial sectors, with measures embedded in public procurement and building codes. So the design of the buildings themselves take into consideration these issues. Innovative and financing support, concessional financing and technical support from institutions in Mauritius, such as the Development Bank of Mauritius, further enable industrial and commercial investment in renewable and efficiency projects. The overall lesson is that clean energy investments accelerate when policy provides long-term visibility, bankable implementation pathways, and strong coordination between regulators. In Mauritius, we have the URA, Utility Regulator Authority. Investors, we have banks and financing institutions, and of course, utilities like CEB. Okay, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mauritius. Thank you, Mauritius. Another round of applause, please. I think we are doing quite well on our time. Let's keep the momentum going. Allow me to call upon from the islands, we are now back on the mainland, Mr. Antonio Ugerino Manda. You'll get used to this. I think you'll be partners in my murdering of names, but I apologize for that. Called Mandos. You have the permanent secretary. I think you also have 5 minutes, but we want you to focus on Mozambique, as we know its pivotal role both as a major power producer and a regional transit country. How is the government balancing large hydropower and gas-to-power development with acceleration of utility-scale and distributed renewables? You have 5 minutes. Obrigado. Please take the floor.
Thank you, moderator. Good afternoon, Excellencies. I'll try really take 5 minutes. What we did to accelerate construction of electricity, energy infrastructures, and to increase our access to electricity. The first one, what we did, we mapped all Mozambique in terms of potential. We produced the Renewable Energy Atlas on 2013. And now we know every square meter what we have in terms of hydro, potential, solar, and wind. After that, we approved key regulatory and the planning instruments in order to accelerate construction of energy energy infrastructures and the access. And one of three of instruments, planning instruments that were approved was electricity infrastructure master plan, because in the question we decided to review that instrument, because when we fund the gas and Rovuma basin, that was so huge amount of gas. It was 180 trillion cubic feet, and 25 of this gas was dedicated to the project in the country and also benefits the region. The second planning instrument was National Electrification Strategy, and third one was Gas Master Plan. And after that, we start really to speed everything. And I'll give you one examples of, in terms of achievement after approving these instruments. Our install capacity in 2025 now represents 2,720 megawatts, and from that amount, 2,191 is hydro, because many projects now comes after approval of those instruments. Gas, we start also to have projects, and many of those projects were already complete and now is operation. Now we have installed capacity of 442 megawatts of gas. And next year will be also commissioned another big power plant, Temane gas power plant. It's 450 megawatts. That one will benefit Mozambique and also regions through SAP. In terms of solar, really also we had the big achievements from scratch. We have 87 megawatts storage capacity, and the next year also, I think if everything goes well, we'll have financial closure for Namasha wind power plant is 120 megawatts. That border with Eswatini, and we expect also to support to Eswatini when we reach. And in terms of access, on 2015, we had only 30% of access. But after that, the government approved a very ambitious program called Energy for All. Energy for All means you'll get electricity for free. We don't need to pay nothing if you want to get electricity. That was government plan. And in the cities where the grid is mandatory to have electricity. They're going to your house and so, please, why you don't have electricity? You must have it. That was mandatory. And from that time, from 2015 up to 25, now we have 66% of access. From 30 to 66% of access because of those government policies. That's 55% of grid and 11 off grid. And I have to also say, but one thing was done, was said the morning about Mpandankua, but let me to say something about it. I say we have now strategic investor for the project. That is a very good milestone. End of this year, we start construction of first GECP. GCP is the Green Energy Corridor Project, will start end of this year, and the second one will start next year. And when we are planning, I hope that will be done by 2028 for financial closure to Mpandankua, and to start the construction of this project. I think will be. We're talking in Sadc about Mpandankua 20 years. Mpandankua 20 years. But this time, I think we will be, because the commitment is very, very high for Sadc, for government of Mozambique, even for the investors like ADB, as today speech from ADB was so clear about it. We have good advisor for this project, and also a very powerful strategic investor. I think, Mr. Moderator, I took 5 minutes to deliver important information. Thank you.
Muito obrigado. Thank you very much for applauding. Thank you very much. Another round of applause. We are continuing to move on nicely. And from the first batch of speakers, allow me to call upon Honorable Dr. Jean Matanga, Minister of Natural Resources, Energy and Mining of Republic of Malawi. And I will invite Machmwene to come, Bwerani, on the podium, and to talk to us, and also keep in mind that Malawi has pioneered irrigation, integration of utility-scale solar with the electric battery storage to strengthen system reliability. What are the key policy, regulatory, and planning decisions that enabled these early projects, and what lessons can other SADC member states draw from Malawi's experience? You have the floor.
Thank you very much. All protocols observed. As indicated by the moderator, I'm not the minister. I'm the Secretary for Energy representing the minister. I'll speak to the group about policy planning, which has allowed us to diversify. And then I'll go on to speak of Malawi's participation in the region, trade, energy trade. And lastly, I'll also talk of Malawi's access and efficiency use of energy. Thank you. Let me, in a one line, say our energy generation is not that good at the moment. We are producing about 551 megawatts only, while our demand is almost 800. You can see we are almost at half. So with that in mind, we have adopted we have no time to delay process or policy. We are lined up from 2018, 2017, a lot of policy adjustments so that we benefit and speed up to match with our colleagues in the Sadc region. One of the policies we adjusted is energy, national energy policy. We also changed so many acts. I'll just mention 3 or 4. Electricity energy, taxation energy, taxation policy and laws, public finance management acts, just to allow private sector participation in the energy space. This has resulted into confidence by IPPs to partner with or collaborate with the government so that they produce energy. Because we changed the Electricity Act, it has allowed the IPPs to do business, because before it was only one operator, which is the Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, and then nobody else. Now the IPP are allowed by law but also because we know they take money from foreign countries, we had to change Public Finance Management Act because some acts, some provisions could not allow them to repatriate money in foreign currency. Having gone there, let me also quickly go to Malawi's participation in the region, power pool, regional energy market. We are completing, I think this month, Malawi-Mozambique interconnector, which will be a game changer for us because now the IPP, which have taken on board, they will be allowed directly to participate in the sale of energy to the SAP, which is a plus for them. But also, us, we should be able to evacuate excess energy, if we reach that level, excess energy, to sell to the power pool. We are also constructing, with the help of World Bank, EDF, and other financiers like EIB, we are also constructing a 358.5 megawatts in Paramanga power project, which will take us, we think, if everything goes to plan, maybe the next 3 to 4 years, which will allow us indeed to use the Malawi-Mozambique interconnector for selling into the power or participating economically in the SAP. We are also strengthening our transmission line. We have a project called Eastern Backbone and Western Backbone. We are trying to connect Malawi to Tanzania and also connecting Malawi to Zambia. The Zambia one is called Zama, Zambia-Malawi interconnector, and maybe Tama in the nearest future. All this we are doing to be part and parcel of the Sadc community and also get a bit of revenue and forex. Let me quickly run through to access. Our access story, it's not very encouraging at the moment. It's at 25.6 or 0.8. We want it to be about 70%. So again, we have run a number of using donor assistance and our own local sources, a number of projects to increase access to that level in the next 3 to 4 years. We have a project financed by World Bank called Ascent. We have a project financed by government on
And with your permission, please, another round of applause for them as they vacate the position and we bring other ministers and representatives to come. Thank you very much, honorable ministers and colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
What's one minister has arrived?
I've seen. It is the lady.
Yes, it's the lady.
Okay.
Yes.
As they take their seats, please allow me to call to the podium the following representatives of the following countries. I'll start again from the top of the alphabet. Hopefully the colleagues who are not yet in the room are now here. Can I go to Angola? Do we have any representative? Angola? I'm calling once, twice. On the third thing, it's gone. If it was an auction, it means it had been sold. Let me welcome the Honorable Minister from Botswana. I know she has just walked in. Ma, please, you can come to the podium. I hope you are not... Okay, we have Botswana on the high table. I will move on to the next. Let's call upon to the high table representative from Namibia. You're most welcome. And we move across to the islands again. Seychelles. Anybody from Seychelles? Yes. Round of applause. Please take on one of the free seats, preferably starting from the nearest one. We then move from Seychelles, we go to the Republic of Tanzania. Thank you very much. I think I could have missed somebody. Let me go through my page again. Kingdom of Lesotho. Lesotho, going once, going twice. Number 3, sold. Let me just cross-check again. I think we are moving on nicely. Now we go to, after Tanzania, we are going to Zambia. Mandi. Most welcome, Honorable Minister. I still have one more empty chair. Somebody's shouting and I'm actually making sure I don't hear. African Development Bank. I think I've got a full house now. Somebody said something? Okay. Please allow me to then call upon the Honorable Minister from Botswana, and she actually requested that I give her 10 commandments, and I'm going to do just that. It's only that there is no burning stone or burning bush to present the 10 commandments. But Honorable Minister, we know that Botswana's successful hosting of the inaugural Sadc Sustainable Energy Week in February 2025 demonstrated strong regional leadership. And here's the question: what policy and regulatory reforms has Botswana prioritized to create an enabling environment for increased renewable energy development and private sector participation? And you can also, in your response, maybe tell us something about regional power market integration and investment, as well as financing and energy transition. We hope that you can do all this in 4.5 minutes. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Ma, please, you can come here.
Thank you very much.
You
I
can
need a
use-
mic?
yeah, you can
Okay.
have this one.
Thank you so much, and a very good afternoon to everybody, especially to the Honourable Member Moyo, who's hosting us here today, and the Executive Secretary of Sadc, colleagues across the continent, both in government and private sector. Pula. All right, a few people. Well, we're going to try that again, see if people after lunch are here. Pula. Thank you. We have been working tirelessly following our hosting of the SEW last year to ensure that what Mr. President delivered on in his opening remarks is actually brought to life. And let me start off first by what we're doing domestically, then how we're positioning ourselves in the region. And internally, we revised our integrated resource plan, which had several plans, projects on renewable energy that were to happen between 2025 and 2029. And since then, we increased what we expect to be the energy mix between coal and renewable energy. And our now new objective is to have a 50-50 energy mix by 2030 and to start renewable energy projects effective immediately. So as of January 2026, we've had the first 100 megawatts of solar powered power station come online, and we are anticipating that by June we'll have another 100 megawatts come online, be commissioned, and another 50 megawatts be commissioned. In the meantime, our IRP now recognizes the 50-50 ambition and therefore has put on tender projects that bring our renewable energy generation to 1,500 megawatts. So we're hoping that by 2027, 2028, we will be telling you a much different story of how we are generating power in Botswana. This is, of course, all in line with all the efforts towards rehabilitating and working on maintenance of the Morupule power station that is currently providing us with base load. So as we look at it for 2030, we will have the Morupule power station producing around 500 or so megawatts, the Jindal power station for coal producing approximately 600 megawatts, and then 1,500 megawatts generated from solar. We have since had several projects that have been interested more on tapping into the regional market. There is a 4 gigawatt project that will bring in a blend of both solar and wind into both the domestic and regional market. And in order to ensure that that project is feasible, we have worked around the clock with our colleagues in Zambia to deliver on an MOU that ensures energy trading, tradability between Botswana and Zambia, both through the state-owned entity, the utility company, and directly to the businesses, those that are trading energy and those that are looking for capacity of energy. My colleague in South Africa is sitting there, so I'm eyeing him a little bit, and can I already state that we're working on an MOU of an interconnector and trading between Botswana and South Africa, and we anticipate that we will conclude on that MOU by the end of March latest. And similarly, we have concluded on a trading agreement between Botswana and Namibia, in our last binational meeting between the heads of states that ensures that whatever excess electricity is being generated in Botswana can be traded in the region. But most importantly, it's not about what is being generated in the country, it's about how we're positioning ourselves to allow that was being produced in South Africa, in Namibia, and Zambia to effectively trade within the Southern Africa power pool. And we are anticipating that all these 3 MOUs will ensure that there is the development of the interconnectors, one with South Africa as they look to reach out further into the northern parts of the subcontinent, and with Zambia as we look into tapping into beyond the Zambian market, and as we look into Namibia, for Namibia as they work on access into the Angolan market. So we're doing all of this recognizing our position at the heart of Sadc, and that if we do not have the strong infrastructure, then the regional trade capacity is quite limited. So we're working actively with AFC, and I see my good friend from the AFDB. I'm hoping that he will deliver good news, that the AFDB will also be supporting these projects in conjunction with the DBSA that has shown great interest in ensuring that there are interconnections and the right both domestic and regional infrastructure that ensures there is sub-connectivity and sub-trading. Over and above that, we recognize that it's not just about the generation of electricity. It's about the broader ecosystem. And so for us, in recognizing the broader ecosystem, we have applied to be an issuer of the renewable energy certificates to ensure that all of our businesses that are looking to have this for their sustainability goals, that they have access to these. That we are able to point to both our diamonds being greener, our copper being greener, as we accelerate much more into the mining space. And that brings me to the conclusion, really, of my statement. As I offer my apologies, I am late because it is also Diamond Week in Botswana, and I had to first deal with those that bring me money in order to be here, Minister Moyo. But I am very glad that Botswana has officially handed over the baton for the SEW to Zimbabwe, and we look forward to further collaborations between our 2 countries, but in particular to the betterment of the Southern Africa power pool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Kanewendo, for keeping time, and I think the apologies have been well accepted. On behalf of your colleagues, let me convey that we are happy that you managed to arrive on time. Is it Ma? Ma, yes, that's good. Thank you so much. Honorable Ministers, allow me to now move on to call upon Mr. Moses Pocket, Executive Director, Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy from the Republic of Namibia, to give his presentation, and hope that he is going to touch on policy reform for renewables and green hydrogen. Fully aware that Namibia is emerging as a leader in large-scale renewables and green hydrogen development. What core policy and regulatory reforms have underpinned this process, and how are they shaping investments appetite in generation and transmission projects? You have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just forgot to say there is a request from the translation booth that those requiring headphones for Portuguese or French translation, if you can just raise your hands and then people can circulate some headphones for you for ease of participation in the meeting. Namibia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Moderator. And thank you for massacring my surname. It's Pakote, Moses Pakote. Having said that, thank you very much to our host, Honorable Minister Moyo, for hosting us once again in Zimbabwe, distinguished ministers and guests of honor. There is so much to talk about Namibia in terms of energy, so much, but the time, unfortunately, is very short, so I will also keep it short. Our energy mix, it's premised on 3 policy interventions: the national energy policy, national energy renewable policy, as well as the independent power producers policy. Those 3 are informing where we are going, as well as what kind of quantities we are producing. Currently, Namibia has close to about 800 megawatts, which it is producing. And I hope, Honorable Minister of South Africa, hearing that after I'm done with that, I hope you are not going to say we are withdrawing our contribution to Namibia. Thank you, by the way, for coming through, as well as for Zimbabwe and Zambia. Now, about 800 is what we are producing. Out of that, we have close to 200 megawatt, which comes from independent power producers, 200. We have opened up the market some time ago through what is called a modified single buyers model, whereby we have brought in the private sector, and they are the ones that are producing about 200 megawatt. But we want to go beyond that. When we speak about the M300, you will understand that 600, it's 60%. It's a little. President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, that's our president, has a saying. She always say, Namibians, we are too few to be poor. In terms of energy, we also say, Namibia, we are too few to be energy poor. Also for Sadc, we are too few in relation to our resources to be energy poor. So that's the dictum that will underline, or that underlines our work in the energy sector. Now, going beyond, green hydrogen that he has referred to. Green hydrogen is a very new sector in Namibia, and may his soul rest in peace. It's a project which started under our previous President Dr. Hage Geingob. But it has started to produce tangible results. We have several companies who are currently producing green hydrogen on a pilot base, but there is going to be a rollout which will be coming. Now, we have said we don't just want to be a producer which is producing green hydrogen for Europe. We want value to be added in terms of our industrialization strategy to green hydrogen and its derivatives. With the result that at this point in time, as we are speaking, Namibia has started producing, albeit at a limited level, fertilizers from green hydrogen. Ammonia is also being produced at this point in time, but as I've indicated, there is going to be a rollout which will be coming in a much bigger way. We have a green hydrogen strategy which is in place, which is, and as well as institutional arrangements, which has been governing this sector. The reason why it has taken off actually at a very high level and with the support of the European Union is because at the policy level, the commitment which was made was quite strong and backed by by government at the highest level of the presidency. As not only a presidency, even after the president is gone, because of the model which was set up, whereby you have various stakeholders who bought into that through a steering committee and all other things. And then the subsequent instruments which were developed, the sector is therefore continuing. I will not talk about things like hyphen, because then I will be talking about gigawatt. So I will not go there. For now, we will keep to the tangibles which are there on the ground as we are speaking. Going beyond green hydrogen, it's nuclear energy. Again, as part of the Namibian strategy of industrialization to add the values to what we have, recently, Cabinet has taken a decision that to establish what is called a nuclear energy program implementation unit. And with that said, we are at this point in time busy to formulate a nuclear strategy for Namibia and to ensure that within the, after of course the processes with the AIEA has been obliged to, that we are able to produce energy from our uranium resources. Namibia is the third largest uranium producer in the world, and therefore it is natural that we would like to produce energy from uranium. So that process, policy-wise, has received the highest backing, and it is ongoing. Now, coming to the regional level, there are about 3 projects that we are busy with. One, which was already mentioned by the African Development Bank and the World Bank, is the Angola-Namibia interconnector, which is called, in short, ANA. This is a very important program for both for Angola and for Namibia. The 2,000 megawatts which Angola is producing, will be transmitted via Namibia. It is at an advanced stage. As far as the Namibian government is concerned, we have already all the necessary instruments in place. Even in terms of funding will come from the Namibian government resources and not from any external agency. Now, I will conclude. I've been told to conclude. We are targeting for renewables by 2030 to add about 600 more megawatts on the grid. But with the oil discoveries which Namibia has made, about 1.5 billion barrels, only from one discovery, which we expect that it will increase the GDP by 20%. And gas, of course, we expect that the situation in Namibia in terms of self-sufficiency will completely change after the first barrels has been produced by 2029. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Namibia. We mark the date 2029. Thank you very much. Another round of applause as I call upon. I think I'm going to try to summon all my French. Is it Jean-Louis? You see, I'm improving. Chief Executive Officer, Seychelles Utilities Regulatory Commission, to come and talk to us under the policy innovation for island clean energy. Seychelles has pioneered sustainable energy solutions such as floating solar, wind power, and advanced energy efficiency measures. Which policy and regulatory innovations have been most important in enabling these first-of-a-kind projects in a small island context? You have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I would like to express my thanks to the Minister of Zimbabwe for this hosting us here. And all protocol observed, I would like to begin my presentation by saying that being the smallest, probably being the smallest country in Sadc, I would try not to be intimidated by the figures and the size of the projects and the levels of discussion, you know, because I hear, for example, the Honorable Minister of South Africa in his deliberation this morning was talking about proposed capacity of gigawatt, right? Kind of like, and I'm thinking here in Seychelles, like, you know, our peak demand just passed 60 megawatt. So, you know, and our population has just passed 100,000. So, you know, we'll try, you know, like make up for this somehow. So, thank you. I'm here representing my minister who could not come because she has both cabinet duties and assembly duties this week. The budget is about to be passed in the assembly, so she's needed there. So she asked me if I could represent her here, and I gladly accepted. This is my first time in this Sadc conference, and I would like to say that I'm pretty happy to have been part of this and having learned so much. Seychelles is, although it's a small country, it has many advantages. We have 100 and something islands, but most people are concentrated on 3 main islands. And for that, it's easy to access everybody. Our population, as I said, is about 100,000, and our land area is about 450 square kilometers. Not 100, not thousands, 450 square kilometers. So having such a small population in such a small area means you can do so much. Like my colleague from Namibia, like I visited Namibia, you have a small population, but spread over a large area. So it becomes costly and difficult. Whereas for us, although we're isolated geographically from the mainland, I was just thinking right now, India is closest to us than most African countries are. And our closest African neighbor is Madagascar, Mauritius, and Kenya. We can easier travel to India than we go to like some countries because of the distances. So it's kind of challenging for us because most things have to be imported. But it also provides an opportunity. For example, you spoke about the advances we made in renewable energy and energy efficiency. We used our challenges to overcome that. As we depend mostly on fossil fuel, we realized that we could not keep on depending because as the price of fossil fuel goes up, other factors also affect it, like the price of shipping. So moving to renewable energy, exploring renewable energy solutions was one of the main options we looked at. And we don't have abundant resources like Namibia mentioned, like the 3rd largest producer of renewable energy. We have actually almost zero resource. The only natural resource we have is the sea and the sun. So we have to make use of most of what we have. And we've pushed solar quite far ahead that we can no longer now absorb efficiently additional projects on the grid. We're almost now at about 10% of our installed capacity in solar. As you mentioned, we're about to launch into the first floating solar PV in the region. It was actually supposed to be the first in the world, but another country beat us to that because we had some regulatory setbacks. But we're about to commission this project in April this year or May this year, and it will represent a total capacity of about 5% installed. So, which will bring us to almost 15% installed capacity in terms of renewable energy in Seychelles. So now we're going to the next step of we now bringing in, like our partners in Mauritius, battery storage. So to increase rapidly penetration of solar energy into the grid, we will moving to like a hybrid system of battery and solar. And we're looking at utility scale batteries. We're in discussion with some organization now. A combination of IPPs and the utilities to start bringing online this system as soon as possible. We already have some tests. Our utility has already a 5 megawatt battery storage system that's in place, and it's proven that it's effective, especially on a small grid where you can have a lot of instability in terms of performance of the grid. Battery system is going to be now, like very much appreciated as those of you who know, like when you have battery system, you have probably one of the most cleanest, apart from nuclear, but most of the cleanest form of electricity in terms of frequency stabilization that you can bring into the grid. So these are some of the things we're hoping to upscale in the future. In terms of policy measures, what we've done also, we've removed all taxes on clean energy production systems and energy efficient appliances. Although we don't have a MEPS in place, what we do is if people want to bring in energy efficient appliances, then we use our discretion to analyze whether this falls into a category which will benefit from tax exemption, and then this is provided to these importers to import materials, equipment that are energy efficient. So it's an incentive for them. We hope, in the future, that to have proper maps, that this can become automatic and promote more importation of energy efficient appliances. Just one last on financing. What we're trying to do now is work with partners, because we have only one utility company producing electricity in the country. We're trying now to expand to partners who want to, especially venture into solar energy for production of electricity. So far, we have the first IPP that's going to come online, and we hope this is going to continue. So in terms of the main advantage of financing in Seychelles is it's a very stable economic situation. Apart from the price of oil going up and down, everything else is more or less stable. It's a very calm, peaceful country. So it is an incentive to attract finances, like private companies. So they love that the ability to be able to come and be able to operate in a very safe environment. And although the cost of capital can be a bit high in Seychelles, but we're working with the government to ensure that there are some financial security made available to private companies so they can recover whatever investment they make in the sector. And I think I would like to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Seychelles. I think time is moving on and we want to catch it. Honorable Ministers, please allow me to call upon Honorable Makamba, Deputy Minister for Energy, United Republic of Tanzania, to talk to us about clean cooking and expanding modern energy access, and also Tanzania's efforts in ensuring that there is connectivity between Eastern African Power Pool and SAP. You have 5 minutes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, each and everyone. Honorable Ministers from Sadc member states, especially Honorable Moyo, my brother, distinguished delegates, development partners, private sector leaders, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I know that Sadc over recently have passed Kiswahili being used as one of the languages. Me coming from Tanzania, where Swahili is was the major language, I will be code switching from English to Kiswahili and Kiswahili to English. Just not to confuse you, as you're getting ready to get your microphones, I'll start using for value addition, job creation, and improved quality of life for our people. Tanzania had made tremendous advances in expanding energy access, reliability, and sustainability. Kwa mfano, Tanzania electric access tumefika 85.5%. Na kwa population yetu asilimia 52.1, 52.1 of the population have got access to connectivity. And now the national grid have reached all 12,318. Tanzania tuna vijiji 12,318. Vijiji vyote vimefikiwa na umeme. And now the country, the sub-villages, we've reached more than 53% of our sub-villages. They all have access to electricity. The Tanzania is targeting to produce more than 8,000 megawatts by 2030. And right now, our production is 4,437 megawatts. That's the capacity of our country. I hope you will clap your hands for us, because we are after South Africa. Currently, electricity constitutes only a small portion of energy used in Tanzania. Approximately 85% of our energy comes from biomass and primarily for cooking. Recognizing the need for change, in May 2024, our President, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, launched the Tanzania National Cooking Strategy, which is followed by the M300 agreement that was made in Dar es Salaam. And the target now in Tanzania is to make sure that by 2034, at least 80% of the population of Tanzanians will be having access to the clean cooking. And this goal will be achieved significantly due to the demand of electricity, which is why we are investing heavily in building our energy capacity to meet the future needs. To accelerate clean energy deployment and recognizing the energy efficiency is the fastest and most cost-effective energy resource. Tanzania has adopted a comprehensive 10-year National Renewable Energy Strategy and National Energy Efficiency Strategy 2024-2034. Also, you will recall that during Africa Heads of State Energy Summit, Mission 300 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania committed to increase by 2030. Access to electricity by 2030 will be 100%. Electricity connectivity will be 75%. And access to clean cooking in Tanzania by 2030 is expected to be 75%. And raising the share of renewable energy in generation mix to 75%. Distinguished guests, in my country, Tanzania imebarikiwa. Tuna maeneo ya tambalale kwa maana mainland, tuna visiwa, tuna nyanda za juu, na kwa sababu hiyo, Tanzania tunatumia energy mix. Kuna sehemu ya Tanzania ambayo inatumia umeme kupitia chanzo cha gesi, especially the coastal regions. Tunatumia chanzo cha gesi. Kuna maeneo ambayo tunatumia umeme wa grid. Kuna maeneo tunatumia umeme wa maji, hydroelectric. Oh, it is not working. Oh, okay. I'll continue with English. So sorry. So Tanzania is blessed. The geographical positioning of Tanzania, we have mainlands, we have islands, we have coastal areas, and we have highlands. That being the case, we are pushed to use energy mix, and in order to serve our people getting affordable, clean, and affordable energy, some of our societies get access to electricity through gas, some of others are getting it through solar energy, wind, and in other places, thanks to AFDB, in other places we are pushed to use submarine cables to make sure that those people who are living in the islands get power, affordable power. And next year we're having a big project to make sure that Zanzibar, one of our tourist city area, is getting affordable and quality electricity through submarine cables, which will cost more than $282 million. That's the project which is upcoming next year. Dear distinguished guests, energy security is not achievable in isolation. Tanzania is strongly committed to advancing regional power generation through the East African and Southern African power pools, and eventually in achieving the continent-wide grid interconnection. This commitment presents a significant opportunity to maximize the potential of our energy resources and to foster the more interconnection and resilient energy network across Africa. And that being the case, we are working in collaboration with our neighboring countries, which includes but not limited to Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, DRC, Kenya, and Uganda. In conclusion, I urge us all to continue working hand in hand, leveraging our shared knowledge and resources to drive progress in our energy initiatives. Let us seize this moment to reaffirm our dedication to creating a world where energy is not only abundant and affordable, but also sustainable and inclusive. By doing so, we can ensure that the benefits of our efforts extend to every corner of the globe, fostering a brighter, more connected and sustainable energy future for all. I thank you all for your attention. Looking forward to participating in the insightful discussion. I wish our host Zimbabwe a successful and productive 2026 Sadc Sustainable Energy Week. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. I hope that's correct. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, for her presentation, and we are moving on. We still have 3 more presenters, and I'm looking at the watch. I'm sure the last 2 gentlemen will be super efficient. Honorable Makoso Chikote, I see you are smiling and nodding pleasantly, not violently, so I'm inviting you to the podium to talk to us about the fact that Zambia has taken a pioneering step in establishing an independent transmission system operator. How has this institutional reform strengthened system reliability and investor confidence? And what policy lessons could other countries in SADC learn? You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. Due to time that I've been given, let me ride on the protocols already observed. Indeed, quickly, I would tell you that prior to 2021, as a country, we were coming from single buyer model, whereby our public utility company, ZESCO, was the only off-taker, was the only utility company could generate, transmit, and distribute. So immediately we realized that we have to address the issues of monopoly so that we can promote transparency, competition, and even quality. So as a country, we introduced open access policy that has attracted private sector investment in the energy sector. And this is slowly yielding results. Where there is competition, you expect quality service. Today, as a country, Zambia, we are now celebrating because of private sector investment. And you may wish to note that in Zambia, out of 3.9 gigawatts of installed power, 85% was hydro. But when we were hit by drought, 2023-2024, it gave us an opportunity to start thinking other alternative sources of energy. This is where now public and private came together because of the open access, starting now addressing these challenges that we have been facing. And today we are saying that there is a graph that is going up in terms of energy security in the country. Despite the fact that we have been facing challenges in terms of financing. Financing is one of the issues that we believe going forward we'll be able to be sharing with our neighbors, those who have gone through the same, to see what kind of models that we can bring on board to make sure that our financial close move at a speed. Remember, today, as the Vice President was opening our session officially, there's one word he left with us, call to action. There's a lot that we have discussed and identified as theories. That call to action tells us now we need to move and implement. Time is not with us. I remember when we attended the same function of Energy Week in Botswana, I did say we are tired of just discussing. The region, Africa, must now implement, because we have already known the challenges that we are facing as region. We know. So even to our cooperating partners, what we are looking forward is to make sure that we start expediting processes. There's too much long processes. Here's a project, MOUs have been signed, several MOUs have heard being signed. But what are we doing as a region? So to us, we feel that this is the time we started to agree as a bloc to understand what models of finance we should adopt, all of us. And also our regulatory bodies. We are told that there is an association of the regulatory bodies. You need to move ahead of us. You need to move ahead of the plans so that we are able to walk the talk. Or else we'll be keeping meeting in Harare, meeting in Victoria Falls, meeting in, in Eswatini. That's not Eswatini. Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Moyo. So, colleagues, to me, as a policymaker, I would love that these conferences that we keep on holding must start yielding results. Because Africa is getting down when we have got potential of all the resources. It's a time that we're supposed to stand up, all of us, as a region, as Africa, to start utilizing these resources with time given to ourselves. So in Zambia, we have created an environment to encourage, to motivate private sector through bringing in incentives in place. As we were struggling with the drought, load shedding was 1 hour, 2 hours supply of power. It was terrible. I was busy fighting with my friend here, my senior brother, Honorable Moyo, on certain issues to see how we can survive, because the economy was going down. Look, what is that we need to do? As a country, we said, to attract investment, all the equipment that are meant for solar power plants were coming in the country without any tax. That was one way to encourage our private sector to come and invest in the energy subsector. Also, one issue that I feel, brothers and sisters, in the policy decision positions, we need to pay attention. Energy issues cannot be sorted out by an individual state, no. I've realized that we need to work as a team. The time we're going through these challenges, I can tell you, I don't know how many times I came to my brother to sit down, but constraint of our interconnectors, the capacity to transmit where we have got power in the region and take it where it is needed, it has been a challenge, and it still remains the challenge. But what are we doing so that we can move? We need to have interconnectors to all our neighboring countries. All those MOU we have signed, we are not now interested in those MOU. We need now to implement them and move with the time, so that our economic growth that we have committed ourselves are achieved, other than stories after stories, until we are moved out. I'm told that I need to conclude. As I conclude, we need to harmonize our rules. Regional and national must speak to each other to achieve our bigger picture. Thank you very much.
Well said, Honorable Minister. Your 7 I's: implement, 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 implement. And that's all we need to remember. Thank you very much. Let me ask my brother, Dr. Kevin Kariuki, Vice President. I know you have already made the presentation earlier, But I think this session has given us a lot of pointers, and there's our Apex Bank. You have already also mentioned where you are giving the Sadc region support. But just come and wrap up in terms of, I know you are being referred to even the Honorable Minister of Botswana and others. They wanted you to confirm that you indeed, you have put your mouth where your money is. And please talk to us about regional energy integration, national energy compacts alignment, and leveraging private capital. But don't forget about gender and youth inclusion. You have 30 seconds. I know you can do. A round of applause as he comes with.
I know I'm an engineer, but even 30 seconds will be difficult. But let me start, first of all, with the issue of regional integration. I think, first of all, what I would like to say is that, and again, all protocols observed, of course, Honorable Minister Moyo, we are in your home, and we feel very, very welcome. Asante sana. So on regional integration, part of our core mandate as a bank is what we call regional integration. And we have what is called a regional integration strategic plan. And this is the context under which we have developed transportation projects. There are countries here that are aware of our transportation projects, regional transportation projects. And we also have even the Lobito corridor will fall under that. But we're also looking at a lot of power interconnection projects. And this is the context in which I refer to a number of interconnection projects that we are already undertaking in the, I mentioned in the morning, including the interconnection in Malawi that will facilitate, in Mozambique that will facilitate the export. I talked about ANA, Angola, Namibia. I spoke about Mpanda and Kua for export, but I also spoke about support to the South African Power Pool, as well as support to RERA, the Regional Electricity Regulatory Authority. But more specifically, because this has been raised here by my sister Bokolo, Minister Bokolo, to confirm that this is a project that has been on our radar for a long time, and I do believe that this can be attested by Minister Ramakopa. So I'm really happy to hear that the discussions have advanced that much. So it's a project that we'll be happy to support. And for my friend from Zambia, just to say that we financed the studies for Solwezi Kolwezi, and we've been looking at seeing how we can be able to progress that. And this is also the reason why, we believe in regional integration, and that's why we supported some of you may have heard what is called the Continental Power Master Plan, which will be the software for the regional interconnection that we are going to have all over the country, all over the continent, towards the establishment of the Africa Single Electricity Market. So let me stop there on regional integration. I can go on and on. On energy compacts, first of all, I want to say, for all those who may not know, energy compacts are actually owned by the countries. We do not impose energy compacts. But although I'm sure all here, Namibia would confirm that these are actually compacts they demonstrate the aspirations of a country, what needs to be done in order to achieve the electricity access that the country commits to. What we do as the World Bank and AFDB is to try and help them flesh out these energy compacts consistent with the 5 pillars I alluded to in the morning, which underpin the Dar es Salaam Declaration that was so aptly mentioned by my sister there. And just to mention that this declaration that was made in Dar es Salaam has since been adopted by the AU, and and as a result, it has continental effect as we speak. Today we have 30 energy compacts, and we expect to have 40 energy compacts by June. But so what does this mean? In order to be able to effectuate this energy compact, we've also worked with the countries to ensure that we have compact monitoring and delivery units. A lot of the countries that have energy compacts are establishing this, and they are placed highly enough within the government in order to ensure that this energy compact, the teams that are overseeing this process have the gravitas to follow up on some of the key things that are required. For example, reforms. We all know that reforms are not very easy and they are difficult, but they are need. I always say reforms are like medicine. Medicine is never sweet, but once you take the medicine, you get cured. Just to say very quickly that analysis of the energy compacts that exist, and this will not be shocking to a lot of you, show that we will require $238 billion in order to meet the demands of those energy compacts. I'll repeat that number, $238 billion, but of which 50% will come from the private sector. This is not AFDB has said. This is not what the World Bank has said. This is what you, as governments, have said. So let's put it this way, into context. 50% of 238 is almost $120 billion. It's a lot of money for the private sector. And what I would say is that in order to be able to attract investments at the scale and the speed that we require to meet Mission 300, it is important that an enabling environment is established. And hence, the fourth pillar of Mission 300 focuses on enhancing private sector participation. And therefore, reforms are key to ensure regulatory credibility and certainty, as well as cost-reflective tariffs for sustainable sectors and off-takers. And based on such enabling environment, capital will flow. And I always try to say this, and I'll beg if some of you have heard this. For a lot of us here, some of us are engineers, and we were taught by something called Ohm's law. And for those who may remember Ohm's law, we were told that current follows the path of least resistance. And I'll offer that capital also follows the path of least resistance. If you make and create enabling environments that are the enabling environments in your country, capital will flow. And that's why what I wanted to dovetail here is to say that with the right environment, we can further de-risk projects to crowd in the private sector. Minister Ramakopa in the morning or this afternoon spoke about the credit guarantee vehicle that South Africa is establishing to be able to attract, with the help of the World Bank and IFC. You forgot that we are part of it, but I'll not take it to you. It's an important facility because it will help address South Africa's challenge of transmission. You heard the minister say that they need $25 billion for transmission projects. They cannot do this on their own. They need to be able to create innovative solution that will enable the private sector to participate in that. So also we have a facility, what we call the Sustainable Energy Fund for Africa, which is hosted within the bank. It's a $630 million facility that we also use to de-risk projects and make sure that projects become sort of bankable. There's also other tools. I would just mention quickly. There's the Alliance for Green Infrastructure in Africa, which is we established recently, and we have Zafiri. And I want to mention Zafiri because it is part of Mission 300. One of the things that we discovered amongst Mission 300 is that whereas we expect that we will be able to reach 300 million people by 2030. 50% of those connections will have to come from distributed renewable energy. But this is private sector, and unfortunately, the equity for startups, for DRE projects is not there. And that's why the IFC and ourselves and other partners created Zafiri. We started with a first close of 300 million with a view to supporting what we call providing early equity to projects that can be able to extend DRE. So I'll wish to stop here. I'll talk about gender and other things later on. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Thank you very much for summarizing. I know it was a long topic, but I'm happy that you have actually answered some of the questions that came up during this session and other sessions before now. I will ask honorable ministers, dear delegates, to give another round of applause to this panel as they take their seats. And a big round of applause again. As they do so, those who know the alphabet would realize that I stopped at Zambia, and that was deliberate.
Sorry, moderator, there is a special request to have a picture of the entire panel discussion.
We have not even exhausted the panel, and that's the point I'm coming to. The picture will be taken. Thank you very much for the reminder. I was saying the member states' alphabet does not stop at Zambia. It stops at Z, which is Zimbabwe. And there was a reason for that. I wanted my boss, my honorable minister, to be the one to be blamed for standing between your visit to the falls and not the moderator. So, Honorable July Moyo, please come and make your presentation on Zimbabwe. And we are asking you, please, to talk on three issues: policy reform and private sector participation, scaling renewable energy and ensuring system reliability, and lastly, financing the transition and strengthening utilities. Honorable Minister.
Thank you. The topics are too long, and I don't want to be blamed for letting down my sister, Dr. Evelyn Ndlovu, who is going to be our host as we go to the rainforest. But suffice to say, each country is giving something to learn about. If there's something that you can learn about in terms of Zimbabwe, is when you have pressures on your financial system, and you have pressures on your food systems, and lastly, you have pressures on your energy systems, because we have been under attack throughout those three. But our president has had to be very crafty by creating a superstructure that can be superintended to ensure that we overcome these challenges. That's why the man who is moderating is not just an engineer. He is the Deputy Chief Secretary responsible for all infrastructure, big infrastructure projects, whether it's in mining or is in water, it is in women's affairs, all across. That is his job in order to coordinate. Sometime working with the Vice President who opened your conference today in the economic field, sometime with another Vice President who is coordinating us in the social field, but all the time reporting directly every week to the President and the senior leadership of our country. That's how we have overcome some of the challenges that we have. But in the energy sector, we used to have long lines for petroleum products. This, the President has eliminated, and those who live in Zimbabwe know that. We have challenges in the electricity sector, and I'm sure my colleagues who have been talking to you know that for the first time in a long time, we have gone over 50 days without load shedding. We left it to our Zambian friends to do so. But I don't want to announce this because the chief executive of ZESA should be the one to announce, and if things go wrong, it's him, not me. My colleagues have talked to you in almost all the sessions. The creation of generation as a separate entity, transmission and distribution as a separate entity has allowed us to bring the private sector. And I'm sure you have been listening to what the IPPs have been telling you, the independent power producers who put their items, their products in the national grid. You also have been talking to captive power. It has become a major contributor to our generation. Captive power just means you are a big operator of a company. Why don't you make sure that also, given the resources that we have in the country, coal, wind, solar, gas, why don't you generate your own electricity so that you can power with certainty, with sometimes cost reduction that is not coming from the power utility. So there are many of them, and they've been giving a lot of examples. There are people with coal-bed methane gas. There are people who are using waste to energy in order to provide energy, not just for ourselves, but also for companies that are doing their work. We have looked at our grid. Zimbabwe is both a possibility for making sure that Southern African region is integrated, but it has constraints. Over years of non-investment in our transmission systems has meant that losses, energy losses in our transmission systems are needing some investment. And new lines of transmission are needed, and we opened up that the private sector can also invest in the transmissions together with our power utility that is ZESA. So we have opened this. We are now working also with the World Bank and ADB as part of our Mission 300 to make sure that our procurement system for the private sector to participate in renewable energy is streamlined so that we introduce transparency and sustainability. And this we have done, and our regulator, some of you have seen the compact out there. There are so many solar systems, other captive power systems that you can actually glean in, and the grid impact assessment has already been done, the environmental impact assessment has been done, the land has been identified, the license is there, so you can walk in and you de-risk because all these things have already been done. We have hundreds of them that have been identified like that. So in terms of also just the incentives, we sign with anybody who is investing with us a government project support agreement that is signed by the Minister of Finance and myself, and is also given support by the Reserve Bank. This allows you to obviously amortize whatever loans you would have got as an independent power producer or as a captive power producer. It allows you also to make sure that your dividends can go out of the country. This we have done in terms of de-risking, but also when we sign this, we give you a lot of incentives, tax rebates, duty-free, certainly on solar, there is duty-free that is allowed. In terms of coverage, it's a problem. It's a problem for not just for us in Zimbabwe, but I know for all of Southern Africa. And we are at 62% coverage, although in the urban areas we are above 80%. But there are so many conurbations that are dark cities, and we have allowed not just distribution by our utility, but there are so many people here from Zimbabwe who are looking forward to doing business to distribute the last mile in the urban areas, because we have almost close to 600,000 households in the urban areas that are not connected, and yet the power lines are just at the doorstep. But we are failing to have capital for the utility to reach the last mile, and we are asking the private sector to work with the power utility. In terms of generation, renewable, Zimbabwe, if you saw the map that Sadc put of the southern part of our region is mostly thermal, and the northern part is hydro. But Zimbabwe, we sit in where both hydro and thermal are competing. We are almost in the center. And if you look at the power mix between hydro and thermal, before we bring in the renewables, we are almost half and half. And yes, we are hit by the climate change together with Zambia. But we have tried to mitigate it by having floating solar. In Kariba, we have signed in, and they will be having a private sector company is going to put 600 megawatts of floating solar. And although both the Zambezi River Authority, which is Zambia, and ourselves are saying, with the assistance of Afro-Exim Bank, let's look at the floating solar system in the whole of Kariba system, Kariba Dam system. But in Zimbabwe, we have said, we are allowed by ZRA to have an independent person or company doing solar. So we are putting 600 megawatts. So I can go on and go on. Financing is a problem. And I've said in the last years, Zimbabwe, if you want to study how a president and his government and the people in the private sector can overcome financing constraints from outside and use domestic capital markets in order to move forward, please come and have sessions with our governor, with our Minister of Finance. But your best lessons are from people who are in here who have been investing without outside assistance, but for which, given the throwing up of what is happening, you can assist them so that they can grow. These are the private sector systems. The banks are involved in it. The pension funds are involved in it. The insurance companies, some of whom have sponsored us, like Old Mutual, they are in it and they are investing in renewable. So when we look at our IPPs, those who are doing solar, have become more. There are companies that are doing IPPs. One of them was giving information. So he has not said I should stop, but I'm stopping. Finally, the utility. Our utility has been like all utilities, vertically integrated, although in our case, I think we were pioneers. We separated our transmission from our generation, from our distribution long time ago. And this has given those who are putting independent power production in the as private sector, they have been given a chance. But we are deepening our reforms. We are deepening our reforms because our distributed power systems are spearheaded by our rural electrification agents. For everybody who uses power in Zimbabwe, 6% must go to our rural electrification fund so that we can target the rural areas. And this year, we are going to make sure that all our primary schools, and we are at 71% of all our primary schools in terms of electrification. We are going to make sure that all our secondary schools, and we are at 84%, will be electrified. We are going to make sure that all our clinics, which we are at 94%, are going to be electrified. Because COVID taught us one thing, that we leave these people behind in education, they will not be able to catch up, particularly when we are talking about the ICT and the digital economy that we have entered in. So we have been helped by UNDP in some cases, we have been helped by other philanthropists, and we hope that we can attract more financing. But ultimately, our our parliamentarians, when we had our budget workshop in Bulawayo, they made sure that the Minister of Finance understood that this rural electrification will be funded from the fiscus, yes, with support from the money that is coming from those who pay. So every Zimbabwean, we as electricity, is already contributing to our rural electrification. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Honorable Minister. I won't allow you to sit. I'm actually inviting your colleagues to come for a photo shoot. As we conclude, please, all the presenters, please come to the front for a photo session with everybody else. Presenters, please come forward. As they do so, this actually marks the end of this session. And as your moderator, I will summarize the key takeaways from this session and share them with the session leads for consolidation into the overall event outcome statement. Please, round of applause to yourselves and to the presenters, and thank you very much for your active participation. That concludes our session. Thank you very much. After this photo session, I think the presenters, can you please come on top? I'm being asked by the photographers that you actually come on top. Please, please, can you use the steps? We don't want to break, you to break your legs. Yes, yes. Honorable, you prepared to come and say a few words in terms of the tour after the photo shoot. I'm also a presenter. A presenter, yes. Now we are going back again.
Young and Jashaka and Jayen, Jikamona Nane, Ibimo, Young and Jashaka and Jayen. Young and Jashaka and Jayen, Jikamona Nane, Ibimo, Young and Jashaka and Jayen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A round of applause as our honorable ministers take their seats. At this point, we will request our honorable minister.
Honorable Minister Ngovu, please come to the podium and give us our marching orders and also dress code. We are going into the rainforest, and it implies there is some rainfall there.
Thank you very much, Engineer. Good evening to all of us, I think we are moving towards 5. I'm glad to see such a big number that has come to Zimbabwe, to the Victoria Falls, Muswatunya, the smoke that thunders. I think it's one of the few wetlands that were registered, were approved by UNESCO for us to market together with them to make sure that people understand the importance of wetlands. I think we have just heard, ladies and gentlemen, that Zambia and Zimbabwe